Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday morning. You know what that means. I'm back. Wait a minute. For those who don't know, my name is Ryan Flowers. I am the host of Clutch Sports Talk NFL Sunday morning. Yes, what you're seeing is not a mirage. I am back. I am back for the rest of the NFL season. I'm going to be focusing on NFL football. That's my main goal for the rest of the season. And I'm excited to be back, man. I have a great show. I can't even talk anymore. I have a great show in store for you guys today, man. We got lots to get into. I got some NFL headlines I want to talk about. I got to talk about the Cleveland Browns. I got to talk about Deshaun Watson. I got to talk about what's going on in Carolina and the quarterback carousel they got going on over there. I got to talk about Arizona Cardinals, Kyler Murray. I got so many things to talk about. Of course, I got to talk about my Dallas Cowboys as well. And then also AFC division predictions, got to run down through those, and also the NFC predictions, and then on my final thoughts for today's show. So without further ado, just sit back and relax and enjoy the show. This is Clutch Sports Talk NFL Sunday morning with me, Ryan Flowers. Let's go. Good morning again, once everyone. Hey, man, it's Sunday morning. Look, NFL football is back. This is the first Sunday we'll have football for the foreseeable future, at least until February. So I'm locked in. I'm excited, man. This is one of the best times of the year, other than the actual kickoff weekend. I know we'll have Thursday night football with the Rams and the Bills, I believe, but nothing beats when football comes back. I know we had some preseason games starting off, I believe, on Thursday, and wrap up today with the Raiders and the Vikings here in Las Vegas. So, but man, I'm excited to be back. Listen, for those who know me, you guys know that I had a show called Clutch Sports Talk Live. I'm going to scale back. It's just my schedule is way too busy, but I will focus on the NFL. That will be my show. That's what I'm going to be doing every Sunday at this time, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be locked in right here with my NFL Morning Sunday show, which we're going to cover everything, man. We're going to talk about all the latest news, updates, highlights from around the NFL, get into some predictions today. And then as we move forward into the season, we're going to break down some games, maybe do some covers, some betting odds, things like that. Maybe add some fantasy into the mix as well. But I am excited to be back. So, hey, if you haven't already, if you're watching live on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe, man. Right now, go ahead, it takes 2 seconds, hit that subscription button, man. Make sure you do that today before the show is over. And if you're watching the show live, man, I appreciate you. Make sure you guys drop a comment right now. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns during the show, man, please feel free to let those comments fly, man. I'll be right there looking through them, and we'll see what's going on, and we'll get this show popping. So, hey, nonetheless, welcome back, everybody, and welcome back to myself. This is a new leaf. Like I said, we're going to be doing this every Sunday morning up until the Super Bowl, every Sunday. So I'll be right here. So, hey, again, football's back. I'm excited about that. So let's talk about some headlines, right? Things that have occurred, things that have happened while I've been out or absent for quite some time. So a couple things happened, and we'll start in Cleveland, right? So Deshaun Watson goes over to Cleveland. For those of you who don't know, he is slated to be the starting quarterback, but guess what? He's got some he's got some I wouldn't say criminal, but I guess it would be he's got some judicial issues going on at the moment right now. So he's suspended for, I believe, 6 to 8 games this year. I think the league is looking to suspend him a little bit more, possibly the whole year, which I would not disagree with that. And then the Cleveland Browns went ahead and gave him a ridiculous contract. I mean, honestly, knowing what was ahead, right? Like they knew. Now, it hasn't been confirmed. He hasn't been proven guilty in a court of law that he committed such crimes. But listen, I've said this before. When there's smoke, there's definitely fire. And this guy he needs help, right? He's definitely on some stuff right now, right? So with all the allegations, 20 plus women with sexual misconduct, it just baffles me that an organization who they said they prided themselves on actually doing their due diligence and realizing that they were comfortable giving him that money. And honestly, and right now, he started the other night. There's talks now that Jimmy Garoppolo may be in a trade package for them, or they're looking to maybe do that, which would be crazy because then, if I'm not mistaken, the Browns would have had, at least in this offseason, 3 to 4 starting quarterbacks, right? So Baker Mayfield, Jacoby Brissett, uh, Deshaun Watson, and then if you go ahead and get Jimmy Garoppolo, that'll be another starting quarterback, because we know for a fact that Deshaun Watson will miss some time this year. And it's sad because the Browns on paper are a good team, right? They they've been flying on a lot of people's radars, right? In the last couple seasons, at least the last 2 seasons, right? They made an AFC Conference Championship game about 2 years ago. Then they just faltered last year. Baker Mayfield shipped out. I'll talk about him in just a second. And now they have Deshaun Watson, who arguably people think he's a top 5, top 10 quarterback in the National Football League when he's there. He hasn't played in a while. It showed a little bit on what was it, Friday night, I believe it was, when they played. So I don't know, man. Does he need to be suspended longer? I would say so. Yes. The NFL, Roger Goodell, they really need to get in order their suspension. Like how do they go about saying this game requires this amount of game or suspension games, right? It doesn't seem like he does that. So, this guy gets 6 to 8 games, where guys that are, Calvin Ridley gets a year, because he bet on his own sport, right? But then it's okay for a guy to sexually manipulate women, to have sexual misconduct, and you only give him 6 to 8 games. So I don't know. The contrast is very different. I get it. It's a business. It just baffles me, though, that not to say that the other stuff is right. You probably shouldn't be betting on the same sport that you play in, I guess, per se. But the what you call it, the repercussions, it just doesn't seem it matches. So Cleveland Browns, though, again, doing Cleveland Brown things, and they are in a tough situation nonetheless, moving forward with a talented team. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with them. So they're a mess. They're a mess right now. So we'll have to see what happens with them. Let me know your thoughts on Deshaun Watson. Does he need to be suspended a lot longer, or is the current suspension that he has right now, is that okay with you guys? Let me know in the comment section, and maybe we can dissect that as well. So moving on, a former Cleveland Brown, now he's a quarterback fighting for a starting position in Carolina. Baker Mayfield got the start yesterday for Carolina in their first preseason action. Here's the thing. A lot of people think that Baker Mayfield probably will get the start. I don't know about that. I really don't think. I think that Sam Darnold probably will, and I could be wrong, but and I'm not even looking at it from a talent standpoint. They were both drafted in the same draft class. Obviously, Baker went number 1 to Cleveland. Sam went later on to the Jets, and we all know how that worked out for both of those quarterbacks. Right now, they're on the same team together, ironically, right? But Sam Darnold was just given a lot of money last year, right? And I think Carolina still wants to play that out. Now, I know they brought Baker Mayfield in to maybe push Sam Baker, and then they went ahead and drafted a quarterback out of Ole Miss, Matt Corral. So I don't think he's really in the picture right now. Weird situation for him. But those two are going to be dueling it out. Now, are either one better than the other? I think for the most part, they're pretty much the same quarterback as far as what they're going to give you as far as wins and losses. Sam Darnold, let's be real. When he went to New York, he really was not given a fair opportunity. I'll be fair. I'll be honest and say that. They didn't surround him with all the weapons, right? Now that they're trying to do with Zach Wilson now. So he played on very, 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 very bad teams, right? Comes to Carolina, really not a good, personally, I don't even think it was a good situation for him there either. Christian McCaffrey's always hurt. Robbie Anderson's nice receiver, but not a true number 1. And then DJ Moore, right? He's a nice player, but to me personally, I don't count him as like one of the upper echelon type receivers, right? He's good, maybe top 15, right? Maybe for some, but I don't know, right? So, and then Matt Rule, very successful in college as a coach, comes into the NFL, and we've seen this time and time again. A lot of these college coaches come into the NFL, and it just does not pan out for them. And I think this is probably his last year in Carolina. So not a good situation for Sam Darnold. I think that he'll probably be on the move at some point again, and he probably needs to go somewhere that will surround him with talent. He's not that dude. He's not that guy that's going to go out and win, be that quarterback, that Patrick Mahomes, that Aaron Rodgers type of guy. He just isn't, unfortunately. And that's okay, because there's a lot of quarterbacks in the National Football League that are not like that, right? So fair enough. Baker Mayfield gets drafted by the Browns. They tried to surround him with a lot of talent. For the most part, his teams were pretty talented. They just couldn't get it done in the end. He's kind of aloof to some of his behavior and his awareness, his self-awareness. And then he gets shipped off now to Cleveland, right? So I think, me personally, Sam Darnold should probably be the starter. That's what I think. A lot of people say that Baker Mayfield is going to be the better quarterback. Lee Corso would say not so fast. I think that Sam Darnold, because of the money situation, he should get the start, and he will get the start from a business standpoint, because why would you extend him for all that money last season and then have him sitting on the bench? Now, at some point, he will get benched. I mean, that's going to happen. As the sun sets and rises every day, Sam Darnold is going to get benched at some point, and think Baker Mayfield will take over, right? But I don't think that their talent level is that far off from each other, right? So we'll have to wait and see how that goes with that. And then Matt Rule, again, another guy struggling. This team really, I believe he's an offensive guy, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe he's an offensive guy, and it just has not clicked for them. In Carolina, really, honestly, it should have started this past offseason by trying to get rid of Christian McCaffrey, get more draft picks, because let's just be real, McCaffrey is not going to play a full season. He just isn't. And there's no knock on the guy, really, per se. I have no ill will towards him. I think he's a fantastic running back, but he's never available. He hasn't played a full season, I don't think, ever in his career. And I don't think this year is going to change. And I think after this year, Matt Rule's out, Christian McCaffrey will probably be on the move at some point as well, too. And the Carolina Panthers are going to have to be in kind of like what is a rebuild mode, really. I mean, that's kind of what they are right now. So we'll talk about them later on as I go through the NFC South predictions. Okay. Another thing I want to talk about, Kyler Murray, getting the money, getting the bag, right, as people would say. Is it deserved? I think yes, because he makes the Cardinals relevant. Without him, the Cardinals are not relevant at all. We saw what happened to them the year before they took him. Right, they went with Josh Rosen with a high pick. Didn't work out. I give them credit. They're like, you know what? It's not working with Josh Rosen, and they were right about him, because look, Josh Rosen's bounced around. I don't even know where Josh Rosen is now. At some point now, so he could be in Canada for all I know. I don't know. So they said they messed up. Let's go and take Kyler Murray, right? And they did so. And by doing so, they've elevated themselves into this tier of teams that you like, you know what? I like watching them. They're exciting to watch, and they can possibly contend, right? Now, the drawbacks to Kyler Murray is that he's small, he's diminutive, and towards the end of the season, he starts to slow down, right? We saw that in the last 2 seasons where it starts off really hot, as long as even his head coach, they win a lot of games, they fool a lot of people. He gets hurt, he slows down. And then they falter, right? They're only going to go as far as he will take them, right? And so is the money deserved? Yes, because from the standpoint, he is the Arizona Cardinals. So I get this a lot. We heard this a lot with Dak Prescott last year. Oh, he doesn't deserve the money. He doesn't win Super Bowls. Sometimes it's not even about that. It's not even about that, right? Dak Prescott is the Cowboys for the most part. We saw what happened if he's not under center for the Cowboys, what happens, right? Same thing will happen with the Arizona Cardinals if Kyler Murray is not starting, right? They are not relevant. DeAndre Hopkins is going to miss some time, significant amount of time this season due to his suspension for PED enhancement. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens with the Arizona Cardinals. But does he deserve the money? Yeah. I mean, yes. Is he a talent? Yes. Is he a guy that I want to build around? Probably not. And a couple of reasons why. Number one, I don't feel like he can handle a full NFL season. Number two, he's kind of a punk. I don't know, man. He seems like a very entitled type of guy, very cocky. And again, I'm not in the locker room. I don't know him personally. I can only just see what I see from media clippings, from what I see on TV. I don't know if guys really want to play for him like that. I think they're cool with him. But he just seems like this young, entitled little guy that's out there just like, oh, whatever, I'm Kyler Murray, whatever, yada, yada, yada. Right. Then he says they had that one clause in his contract where he had to watch film, which they taken that out. But what does that say? Who leaked that? Really? I think it was Kyler Murray's people. they've had. Why would the Arizona Cardinals like that? So for him not watching film, that's kind of a concern for me. You're in the National Football League, son. You have to watch film now. Granted, if he hasn't been watching film and he's been able to kind of accomplish what he's accomplished so far, kudos to him. But realistically, what if he did watch him? What if he did understand what he was up against every week? How much better would he be? And I feel like if he doesn't understand that, then honestly, I don't think that he'll go very far with this organization. Now, granted, he is getting the money. He is worth it from a value standpoint for the Arizona Cardinals because, like I said again just a couple seconds ago, he is the Arizona Cardinals. He is the reason why you tune in to watch the Arizona Cardinals. Let's just be honest. Who's another impactful player on that team that you really want to see? I'll wait. J.J. Watt. I mean, maybe he might be the only guy left. DeAndre Hopkins, but who gets him the ball, right? So Kyler Murray is the face of that franchise, and that's what you tune in to see on every Sunday. You're not tuning in to see what's the running back there now? He came from the Steelers. I forgot his name. Got it. I forgot his name now. But there's the point right there. So he is valuable to that organization. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens with them. Okay. All right. Enough of the headlines. Unless I can't think of anything else really that really touched base. I don't know. Let me guys know what you guys thinking in the comment section right now. So drop those comments in there and we'll get to those. So, but what I want to do now, I want to talk about the AFC and break down each division, right? This is very important. I'm going to be ranking the teams in each division, and you guys let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. So, well, let's talk about the excuse me, the AFC West. We'll start here, right, with the local team, the Raiders, right down the road from where I live. So here we have it in the AFC West. These are my predictions this year, and this is arguably probably the best division in football, arguably. I mean, you can make a case that all four of these teams can make the playoffs, right? Because this is a damn tough division, literally. And even the last place team that I have listed as the Chargers, they I think on paper they're talented, but I'll talk about them here in just a minute. So let's start at number one, right? So Denver Broncos, they receive an upgrade in quarterback. Russell Wilson, he's here. Broncos country, let's ride. He's here. That's a tremendous upgrade from what they had in the last couple of years with Drew Lock, right? And we've seen with the Broncos, they are willing to go and make a splash. Now, they didn't take Justin Fields last year in the draft. They said, whatever, we're going to hold pat. We're going to wait for something to happen. Russell Wilson fell into their laps, and they went ahead and took him, right? You pair him with a really solid defense, what they have right now with their secondary and their ability to rush the quarterback. Adding Randy Gregory, a former Cowboy player who was very beneficial for the Cowboys last season. He's there now. So you put that together, even though it is a tough division, the Broncos should have the slight edge right now in the AFC West, barring any types of injury. Okay. Now, the next team, Kansas City Chiefs. I really was on the fence going back and forth between them and the Denver Broncos, right? It's almost like a 1A, 1B type of situation. Now, Kansas City lost Tyreek Hill, which is a huge, huge blow. Not sure why they just gave him up. Maybe they know something that we don't know. However, though, you still have a great combination of Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Okay. Now they're going to find a way to make this work. You still have Travis Kelce. You still got your array of receivers. They've added some guys. We're going to see what happens with them, right? We know their pass rush can get after. Now they did lose Tyrann Mathieu to the Saints. So that's going to be pretty harmful for them on the back end, but they can rush the quarterback, right? And they have a great home field advantage, and their quarterback is one of the best in the game right now. So, this division really could be mixed up all over because you have all these teams they're really strong at what they do, but then they have some weaknesses. Now, Kansas City's defense is not as tough, not as stout. But I think the combination of Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, they'll be able to figure it out. They'll be able to score some points. They'll be able to move the football, and it should try to alleviate. Now, are they a Super Bowl contender? I'll talk about that in my final thoughts this morning, but I don't know. I have to sit on and wait on that. Now, all right, the local team, and I'm not trying to show any hate because people that know me know I'm documented saying I do not like the Raiders. However, I do give them credit where credit is due. Now, Raiders, big signings. Devontae Adams in the silver and black. That's going to increase their offense, which really hasn't been a problem per se, right? The quarterback Derek Carr, very stable. I like Derek Carr. A lot of Raider fans don't seem to like him most often than not, or they're very hard on him. Derek Carr is not the problem in that organization. He's not. He's not. If anything, he's been a stabilizing force for that team. Okay. Now you add him, or you have him, then you have Devontae Adams coming into the fold. We'll see how that's going to work out. Now they have a very nice receiving core as far as Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfrow. If Darren Waller can get healthy, you get back to his form from about 2-3 seasons ago, then they got something cooking. All right. Now the problem with them is their secondary. Now we know that they can get after the quarterback. Max Crosby, they ended up signing Chandler Jones. So they're going to be able to rush the quarterback in a division that has very great quarterback play. So that's very important. So keep that in mind. So we'll see if there's a chance that front seven per se can help out the back end, right? So, but the Raiders will be able to move the ball. They should be scoring points. The run game is pretty solid. Now, their biggest question too is on the offensive line, right? So Richie Incognito just recently retired. They still have some young, unproven guys there that they need to kind of figure out. Their high draft pick, Alex Leatherwood, really did not have a great season last year. So we'll see how their offensive line, can they keep Derek Carr upright, right? And Derek Carr has to do a better job of protecting the ball. Now, so far in training camp, he has not turned the ball over in their drills, so maybe he can carry that over into the season. But the Raiders, for me, should be in the mix somehow. They can easily be a 2, depending on how everything goes. They could probably even be 1. But that's how hard this division is, right? I think all these teams are going to split each other. Somebody's going to win at home, someone's going to win on the road. It is what it is, but this is a tough division. And then finally, San Diego Chargers. I have friends that are Chargers fans. Please don't get on me. I'm just trying to be objective as possible. But listen, they have all the talent. But the biggest problem for me, and I think most of you can agree, is your coach. Coach Staley is terrible in clutch situations. We saw it time and time again last season where he had a propensity of just making bonehead decisions when it mattered most. That finale against the Raiders, what he did. There was a couple other instances where he just really shat the bed. Now they added Khalil Mack, part of their linebacking core. J.C. Jackson at corner, to pair with the other guys that they've gotten back there with Derwin James. So on paper, this is a talented team. You're right. You have your left tackle, Rashawn Slater, who's going to probably be a Hall of Famer. I'm putting that out there right now. Justin Herbert, he's coming into his own. He's one of the next up-and-coming top young quarterbacks in the National Football League who can throw the ball. Keenan Allen is a very underrated wide receiver. We don't really talk about him as much, which we should. And then, their running game is slight, but hey, it's effective. It's effective. But their biggest problem is their decision-making with their head coach. And I think in this division, we look at the head coaching, Nathaniel Hackett, I think, or Daniel Hackett, first-time head coach, Andy Reid, Josh McDaniels, and then Staley. So honestly, if I had to pick coaching, Kansas City probably has the best coaching. Then maybe I don't know anything about the Hackett coaching staff, but then I'll probably go with the Raiders and then Broncos and then Chargers, because I just do not trust the head coach for the Chargers. I just don't. So we'll see what happens with him as we move forward. So, all right, but that's my AFC West predictions. Love them, like them, leave them. It is what it is. I got Broncos, Chiefs, Raiders, Chargers. All right, moving on. AFC South predictions. So this is going to be like a fun division, I would say. I think the Colts are still the class of this division. I think the Titans are probably going to take a step back slightly. The Colts did get an upgrade with an older quarterback with Matt Ryan. Carson Wentz is not that guy. He is not that guy. I knew he wasn't that guy. Now he's with his third team now, the Washington Commanders. And Matt Ryan, he's now in a Colts uniform. So Matt Ryan still has some juice left. All right. He may not be the Super Bowl, not the Super Bowl, but the league MVP, Matt Ryan, but I feel like he still got some juice. The offensive line had some issues last year. They did suffer some injuries. A lot of it was a quarterback play too. So I expect that O-line to get back to prominent shape and form this season. The defense is going to be good. We already know that, led by Darius Leonard. And of course, Jonathan Taylor in that run game is going to be ridiculous. And we're going to see if Michael Pittman Jr. can elevate himself to be that number one wide receiver. T.Y. Hilton is gone. He's a free agent. Great career, but the guy was always hurt. I mean, literally, so we'll see how they go. My biggest thing for them, a lot of people like them as like a black, no, not a black sheep, but like a low key Super Bowl contender. We got someone commenting already. My boy Barry Grant from the All Even podcast. He says, "Clutch Sports Talk. What's up? Colts are going to be really good this year." I like the Colts, but my biggest thing for me is down the stretch. Can they throw the ball? Do they have a number one wide receiver? That's my biggest thing. Frank Reich, honestly, he could be on the hot seat this year. He's a guy that we don't think about it because the Colts are very stable. They're a very stable organization. They don't have a lot, even though their owner was, he was crazy back in the day, but he might be on the hot seat if they don't get things done. They should win this division. I do like them as a team, but I feel like from the wide receiver, they need to probably go out and develop one more guy, and we'll see. But I do like Jonathan Taylor. I do like him a lot, and then we'll see if he can he can take his game to the next level, which already, I mean, he's taking it to the next level. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with him. Excuse me. So Tennessee Titans, I got them at number 2. Look, they're a good team. Their defense is stout. Their defense is stout for sure. Derrick Henry will take them as far as they will go, right? Ryan Tannehill, I like him, but really, they let A.J. Brown go, who was a big factor for them, right? They signed Robert Woods, which I like Robert, LA guy. I'm from LA, went to Sarah High School, former Trojan. But listen, he's not a number one receiver, okay? So to me, they're going to put all their eggs in a basket of Derrick Henry, and we're going to see how far he will run them to a playoff berth. And maybe they get into a deep playoff run. We don't know. But if Derrick Henry goes down again, now he's coming off an injury. We're going to have to wait and see. But I think they're still good enough to be second in this division. I mean, could they beat the Colts? Yeah, I mean, I think they can split. Look, division games are tough regardless, right? But we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But I got them at number 2. Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, I watched them the other night against the Cleveland Browns. I did like what I saw from the number 1 pick, Trayvon Walker, the way he was getting after it. He played really well against the Raiders in the Hall of Fame game. He doubled back again and played really well on Friday night. I like the direction that they're going, right? I really like Doug Peterson is a good coach for this team, right? Good offensive, young-minded guy. Not young, but he's good for young guys, right? Urban Meyer just wasn't that guy. I mean, should have never got the job in the first place, but he got it. Realized like he's playing Alabama every week. You're not playing Vanderbilt, okay? Trevor Lawrence should be better in the system. They get Travis Etienne to go to pair him with, I believe, James Robinson, a breakout running back that they got last year in the draft. So they got some tools. They got some things going on there, right? They lose DJ Chark to Detroit, I believe, but I feel like they still got some talent on there. I feel like Doug Peterson will be able to move them around. So do I think that they're going to win a bunch of games? No, they're still the Jaguars, but I can maybe see them winning 3, 4, maybe 5 games. This year, just based off some of the talent that I've seen already there. So I got them at 3rd. And then the Texans. Now, I kind of struggle with this because for some reason, I'm a lot of people are down on the Texans. I think that they might be, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they're going to be a Super Bowl playoff contending team, but I don't think they're going to be as bad as people think that they are, right? Davis Mills, second-year quarterback out of Stanford, showed some promise. Now, they went ahead and drafted Jonathan Mechie, I believe his name's from Alabama. Now, prayers to him and his family. He's going through some I believe cancer, so he'll probably miss the whole season. I was excited when they drafted him because I feel like Mechie could have added a lot to their offense, but now he won't be there. We'll have to see what happens. Now on defense, they did go ahead and they got Derek Stingley Jr. and then they drafted a guy named Petrie, another cornerback, I believe from Baylor, who was a talent. So and Lovie Smith is the head coach. Not a big fan of that. Don't love it, but I guess in this situation, you need a veteran type of coach to kind of maybe be a stabilizer. I don't think he's the future, right? He's not going to develop anybody. When has Lovie Smith developed any quarterback or anybody really? Not since back when, he was on the Rams staff way back when. So, but I don't think the Texans are as bad as people think they are. But they're not going to win a lot of games. I think maybe they win 3-4 games max, if that. So I think it's a good place. If I'm a coach, Texas is one of the better states to coach in, right? And you can get players. I mean, it's tax-free. Houston is a wonderful city, right? They support their team for the most part, especially if you got a winner, right? So why not go down to Texas? Now, the ownership is kind of screwed up. I will say that, they didn't handle the Deshaun Watson thing very well. And Bill O'Brien pretty much mortgaged off their future. So it's going to be some time until they can kind of get back on their feet, right? Bill O'Brien really screwed them up, right? Giving away all those draft picks that they did for literally nothing for J.J. Watt or for DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, he literally just it was a fire sale, okay? So that team is they are in a rebuild mode, right? So we'll have to wait and see with them. But I got the Colts number 1, Titans number 2, Jags 3, and the Texans at 4 for the AFC South. And, I just realized I'm missing the AFC North. My bad. I'm not sure what happened there. Let me go ahead and load that in there. I don't know what happened there. I had it there last night, but hey, that's what happens when you do live TV, man. Things happen. It is what it is. But hey, we're gonna keep it moving, right? Because that's what we do. But yeah, I want to get into the AFC North and then the AFC East, which is weird because I thought I loaded these, but I guess I didn't. Very weird. Not sure what happened, but hey, it happens. But just like the NFL, they're in preseason. I'm in preseason as well. So we're gonna just make things work as they go along. But let me go. What do you guys think so far about the predictions for the 2 divisions that I've covered so far? Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. Anybody disagree with some of the predictions? I mean, some of you probably will disagree in the next ones that are coming up. I will say that because I have some thoughts and some theories about some of these teams that are going to be coming up in the next 2. So let's just sit back and relax here and get these up and going here. That's very weird. I don't know why they didn't load, but could have sworn I loaded it this morning, but I guess they didn't. Oh, well, so be it. But they're going to load right now. That's what I do know. All right, we got a comment in here. So, all right, thanks, Bear. I appreciate that. I think you're spot on. Honestly, I think the Texans are going to be better than most. So, yeah, I agree, man. I really, a lot of people are down on this team, but I think that Davis Mills might surprise a lot of. Now, is he going to go out and just go win an NFL MVP? No. But he did show some signs on a team that really had no talent. And Lovie Smith, I didn't really like the coaching pick for him based on just like his last tenure as a coach, as a head coach. I know it was college, but the Fighting Illini, I mean, literally, Illinois sucks. But I guess he's probably more geared for the NFL. So he's a stabilizing force. Other than the guy that they had, I forgot the name of the other guy that they had before, which I was not a fan of. I thought he was a placeholder guy. When I watched that guy, and let me know what I forgot the guy's name. Barry, you probably remember the guy's name because you kind of like the coach, but I don't remember the guy's name at all. But I was like, I would watch those games for the Texans. I'm like, this guy, he looks lost, man. Like he has no idea what's going on. So, but yeah, so the Texans to me, they're going to be better than most people think. So we'll see. All right, I'm back up and running. So let's talk about the AFC North picture. Now, this is a juicy division, very juicy division because you got some teams in here, almost like the AFC West, where arguably there's some these teams are probably playoff teams, depending on the quarterback play, et cetera, et cetera. Now, Pittsburgh, Ben Roethlisberger is out. I believe Mitch Trubisky was named the starting quarterback. Now, Kenny Pickett looked pretty good yesterday in some preseason work. This and people are like, well, you don't have the Ravens at number 1, Lamar Jackson. I am not a big fan of Lamar Jackson, and I'll get to them in just a second. And I'm not using that to kind of explain my ranking. Well, maybe I am. I don't know. But just hear me out for a second. Just hear me out, please. Please. Look, Steelers. One thing, look, it looks like they found another wide receiver, which is this is crazy. They continue to keep finding receivers. George Pickens looks like he's going to be that guy, right? It just baffles me how this team can find receiver after receiver after receiver. And then you look at New England, they can't even find a receiver. They miss on so many receivers, right? But I'll talk about the Patriots because they got a mess going on over there in New England. But back to Pittsburgh. You're going to have a run game. Najee Harris is going to be very solid again. Mitch Trubisky doesn't need to be a world beater, right? I think in Chicago, they asked him to do a lot. In Pittsburgh, your quarterback, you don't need to do a lot. Just don't turn the ball over. You snap it, hand the ball off. Every now and then you need to throw. Now, they do have some guys to throw to. Deontay Johnson, stud. This George Pickens, if he turns out to be a guy, right, he'll be rookie of the year probably, right? You still have Chase Claypool, who talks a lot, but, big sturdy wide receiver, big target in the red zone. You got guys. Their defense has always been good. TJ Watt coming back, Fitzpatrick, they have a good team. Mike Tomlin does not get enough credit for all the stuff that, people used to rag on him. You know what? But this guy is a great NFL coach, man. You can't deny that. And he's going to have this team right now. They missed the playoffs last year, I believe, right? Or did they make it? But they just got blown out. Yeah, they made it. But they limped into the playoffs. I think this year, Steelers are going to I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, but I feel like they have the pieces to win this division, right? They can do it. I really believe they can do it. So I got that number 1. I got them number 1 because I have a trust with Mike Tomlin. I feel like, he's going to lead them right down the right path. Now, the Baltimore Ravens, they're going to go as far as Lamar Jackson will take them. Now, everybody in the offseason, oh, Lamar Jackson, he's beefed up. He's put on weight. His arms look big. I don't care about that. I don't care. Can he make the throws in clutch situations when I need him to? He'll win you a lot of regular season games. He's talented. I'm not saying he's not that. He's not talented. He is talented. But come playoff time, when I need him the most, he sucks. He sucks. Flat out. Right? I had a stat I was looking at the other day with Dak Prescott and him, right? They're both like 1-3 in playoff situations, but Dak Prescott has more touchdowns, a better QBR, and less interceptions. But they only have one win for the both of them, right? But Lamar Jackson's supposed to be this phenomenal type of dude. He's good for the regular season, period. You look at any of his playoff games, even the one that they did win, when they did go into Nashville and beat the Titans, it wasn't because of him, really, per se. Now, he contributed to it, but he's a fun story. He's nice, but there's something behind him that I don't like. Maybe I'm old school. I like my quarterbacks to stay in the pocket. I like them to be mobile, but not running all the time. Now, people will say, oh, well, he throws. You guys just don't think, he doesn't throw the football. I get it. He throws the football. I get it. But what they're asking him to do is to be a runner. And that him going to Baltimore really fit what they really needed to do. Right? He couldn't go anywhere else and be the quarterback. But what he does in Baltimore, it really brings out the best in him. I don't think that they're a Super Bowl contending team. I could be wrong. And people are like, oh, he won an NFL MVP. So what? Cam Newton won an MVP not that long ago. And look what he's doing. He's not even on the team. He's out the league. Probably going to retire soon. Okay? Just because you won an MVP doesn't mean you're this great player of all time. You could have you can catch lightning in a bottle, a la Russell Westbrook, different sport, right? You can catch lightning in a bottle. It's fine. But to sustain that, I don't know. He's going into what, year 5, year 6? He is what he is. He's not going to get any better at being a very, very progressive type quarterback. I believe he's a one-read quarterback. After that, he's looking to run, which rightfully so. He's been blessed with that ability to move. So be it. So I got the Ravens at number 2. Now, they did have a lot of injuries. Now, hopefully those guys will come back healthier, especially on the defensive side. And Ronnie Stanley, their left tackle, their all-pro left tackle, He's going to be coming back from a serious injury. We'll see how he goes. So we'll see how the Ravens will fare as the season goes on. The Bengals. A lot of you are like, "What? You got the Bengals at 3?" I feel like the Bengals are going to have a Super Bowl hangover, like all teams that lose a Super Bowl. Good play, good quarterback play. They could not keep this guy upright. Ironically enough, this is the crazy thing about them. So they go ahead and they get Jamar Chase, right? And a lot of us were like, well, why didn't you get Penei Sewell, right? He was there. You needed to protect your quarterback, right? And what happens in the Super Bowl? They can't protect the quarterback. Now, it's kind of like a catch-22 because Jamar Chase was very important to what they did. So if you don't draft him, you probably don't even make the Super Bowl because Burrow doesn't have no one to throw to. But then you don't get Penei Sewell. You don't do anything to improve that offensive line, and you get to the Super Bowl. And honestly, if you could just block for just 2 seconds, you probably win that Super Bowl. Literally, you probably do. That's the crazy thing about that whole situation is that they made the Super Bowl because they got Jamar Chase, but they lost Super Bowl because they didn't have a stout offensive lineman. So let's let that resonate. So I'm not that high in the Bengals. I think they're going to come back down to earth. Joe Burrow got a lot of pub in the playoffs. I thought he played well. He did what he can do, but I think they're going to come back down to earth. I don't see them as being a team that's going to be contending again for a Super Bowl because honestly, they probably even should have made the Super Bowl last year. So we got another comment here. What is your opinion on the revamped line? You know what? I think that they've addressed that. They went out and got Lyle Collins from the Cowboys, so that's going to help. That's a big, and I believe they had one other signing. Forgive me if I don't remember, but that's huge. That's huge because they got to block. You got to keep your guy upright, man. You got to keep your quarterback up, and they did not do a good job of doing that, and it really showed in the Super Bowl, big time, Barry. That's all you know. So, like I said, that's the irony behind that they made the Super Bowl. But if they had a line, they probably would have won the Super Bowl. Because, and I'm going to get to the Rams, but let's be real. The Rams are a good team, but they can be beaten, okay? They can be beaten. And the Bengals showed that. Right? So, I don't think the Rams is just some juggernaut team that can't be beaten. The Niners beat them. The Niners probably should have beat them in the NFC Championship game. If that's free safety Jaworski's Tart doesn't drop that interceptions late in that game against Matthew Stafford. And who knows? We might be talking about the Bengals as Super Bowl champions. But we'll get to that in a second. All right. And then finally, to round out the NFC North, we got the Cleveland Browns. Look, we don't know who's going to be their quarterback because we know Deshaun Watson, he's going to miss time, period. Whether it's a full year or half the season, he's going to miss some time. He's going to. That's a fact. So this team just cannot get out of their way. They always got something going on in the mix. It's crazy to me. That's just what they do there. But hey, on paper, they have a good team. They have a solid team. Their defense is great. If anything, their biggest weakness is probably the receiving room. But you had Amari Cooper, which, I'm a Cowboys fan. We've had him for a couple years. Amari Cooper is an enigma because honestly, he doesn't get talked about as being one of the top receivers, but he has top receiver talent. The biggest problem with him is that, and it was proven even when we traded for him from the Raiders, he is not there mentally all the time. He will check out on you. And I feel like that kind of limits him a little bit. And therefore he's not considered as one of the top guys because he doesn't show up all the time. He don't show up. And he's kind of moody. So I don't know. Yeah. And he's too quiet for me as a receiver. I need my wide receivers to be very, very, very outspoken. And to me, he's not that guy. I think, but we'll see. But, they have David Peoples-Jones or Donovan, whatever his name is, from Michigan. He's a young guy, and they have some other guys there. But honestly, it's going to boil down to the quarterback play for them. Like it mostly does for most teams, it's the quarterback play. So those are my AFC North predictions. Let me know what you guys think. Am I off? Some of you probably have the Ravens at number 1. I like the Steelers though, and George Pickens is going to be that dude. And again, the Steelers continue to find wide receivers. Again, 3 things in life, right? Death, taxes, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to find a wide receiver in the draft. And they find guys that are not even like high picks, right? They find guys in like the, behind the scenes type picks. Then, so George Pickens, a great wide receiver. So we'll see what happens. All right. Moving on. Final division. Got the AFC East. The East. All right. So listen, this one to me, I think is going to be pretty much straightforward. We all know the Buffalo Bills are going to be the class. They're the defending AFC East champs. So I think they're going to do that again. Right. They added Von Miller to their defense. Their offense to me is good. Right. The Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs really have that relationship now. And so it's only going to get better. I like their coach. Now their offensive coordinator is gone. Brian Dable is now the head coach of the Giants. So that's going to be interesting. So we'll see how that dynamic affects them. But overall, the team is good. I don't have much to say about the Buffalo Bills. Pretty simple there. Miami Dolphins. This is a team. They are like the Cleveland Browns in the sense that they're not as dysfunctional, but they get a lot of hype. Right? Last couple of seasons, Miami Dolphins are coming on. They're coming on. I'm going to give him one more year. And honestly, this is Tua's last year. Because if he doesn't get it done this year, he's done. He's done. They've added a lot to help him. They've drafted some guys. They went ahead and got Tyreek Hill, right? Their defense has always been pretty good. When Brian Flores was there, we'll see how it is now with their new coach, with Mike. So we'll have to wait and see. But I think that they're going to be better than the New England Patriots. At number 3, Patriots have a lot going on right now. They got 5 different people calling plays. They got the offensive coordinator, the offensive line coach. They got the janitor. They got the guy selling peanuts and the beer vendors calling plays for this team. And Bill Belichick is very, very, very adamant about not really understanding why people are concerned about this, right? He was asked in a press conference, he's like, don't worry about it. We got it. And, the thing with Bill Belichick and the Patriots is that when you've been great for so long, right, it's hard for anyone to tell you, like, your shit stinks. And in this particular situation, your shit stinks, Bill. He's been great for so long, but you're starting to see this thing come off the hinges, man. Like, a lot of people were high on Mac Jones last year, and now Josh McDaniels is gone. They have so many questions. They have no running game, really. They have no number 1 wide receiver that they can really count on. Obviously, they tried to go out and spend a lot of money last year in free agency. It didn't really work out. I don't know, man. Their defense is going to always be good, be stout, but their offense just will not have enough to compete with these other teams. Hell, I think the Jets might have a better offense than the New England Patriots at this point. And that's crazy, right? So I don't know, man. We're going to have to wait and see what happens with them. But I'm going to be as bold to say that Belichick is probably going to be in his last year or two in the National Football League. I think his time is run out. He's kind of like a Greg Popovich now with the San Antonio Spurs, is that he gets a lot of respect and reverence because of what he's done in the past. And you can't argue that. You can't debate that. But right now, I believe like he's out of touch. He's out of sync. This whole time, they've never been able to develop a receiver. And now Tom Brady's gone, which we're seeing now. Tom Brady was really the guy that made all of this work. It's pretty evident now, especially going into this season. The Patriots were in the mix last year, and then towards the end, they kind of fell short, right? Because the quarterback play just wasn't there, right? But we're starting to see something. This year is the beginning of things falling off for them. And Patriot fans, I mean, you guys had a good run, and I'm not trying to count them out, but it's not looking good in that franchise. What's going to happen now because Bill Belichick, he's old, man. He don't care. You ever talk to an older person? They don't care, man. They're set in their ways. They don't care. That's why they go outside with their drawers hanging down. They got stuff all over their lips and they crusty because they don't care. That's Bill Belichick. He don't care anymore. He likes to have his drawers hanging out his pants, right? He likes to have crust on his lips, right? He don't care anymore. He's like, dude, I won all these Super Bowls. I've been to the playoffs. What can you tell me that I don't already know? And that's a problem. That can definitely be a problem because you're not progressing, right? You're moving, but sometimes you can't always take movement to be something as a positive. But what type of movement are you making? They haven't done anything. They haven't done anything to prove to me that they're going to be one of the top teams in the AFC East. So we'll have to wait and see. All right. New York Football Jets suffered a blow. They lost their left tackle, Becton. He's out for the year. And then Zach Wilson goes down in a preseason game. Now he's out 4 to 6 weeks. Should probably make the start. We'll have to see. But I like what they did in the draft. I really like what they did in the draft, but I just don't think this team has enough yet. And I'm not a fan of defensive coaches being head coaches in the National Football League. It just doesn't work. Out of all the top teams right now, which one of them have a defensive head coach? And I could be wrong, but just name them for me in the comment section, because I'm willing to go out and on a limb and say none of them. Defensive head coaches do not work out, right? The only time I've ever seen him probably worked out, it's been a while. It's been a while, man. I just don't see it. Because they cannot develop quarterbacks. They just can't. You just can't. And Saleh, great defensive coordinator in San Francisco. I don't think he's going to get it done here in New York. Now, they're building towards the right direction, but I just don't think it's going to. Their defense is going to be good. It's going to be their offense. It's going to be their offense. So I still have them finishing fourth in this division, maybe getting up to 4 wins. Now, they got a tough schedule to start with, so but I don't know. But that's my AFC East predictions. I got Bills, Dolphins, Patriots, and Jets. Like it, love it, or leave it. All right, moving on. We're going to hit up the NFC now. Some NFC West action. Excuse me. To me, this is a no-brainer. I mean, for the most part, the Rams are the team in that division. They just are. Okay. Then the Cardinals, the Niners can be. It just depends on Trey Lance, because they're moving off from Jimmy Garoppolo, right? But to get back to the Rams, look, they're kind of like the Bills. Not much more to say. That's a stacked team. Defense is going to be good. Offense is going to be good. Coaching is great. What else more can I say about the Rams? They still can be beaten. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Bengals had them. Probably should have won the game if they could protect Joe Burrow for like 2 more seconds. Throws that touchdown to Jamar Chase in the end of the game, they probably win the game. But it is what it is. The Rams won. Congratulations. Cardinals, again, I talked about him at the top with Kyler Murray. They're only going to go as far as Kyler Murray will take them. And they're going to start off hot, and then they're going to fizzle out in the end. That's what they do. Somebody's going to get hurt. J.J. Watt's going to be hurt again. We don't know how DeAndre Hopkins is going to be when he comes off his suspension, so they're going to miss him a lot. But I still think they'll be able to win some games with Kyler Murray, and then he's going to phase out, and then they're going to start to dwindle a little bit. So I can possibly see in the future the Niners maybe slipping into that second spot, depending on the play of Trey Lance. Now, if he comes out and he's 30, doesn't turn the ball over, the Niners are back in business. All right, the defense is good. They know how to use their offensive weapons, right? Samuels is still there. So I can easily see the Niners flipping with the Cardinals. But I'm going to give Cardinals the nod right now because they have Kyler Murray, who's established in the National Football League, versus Trey Lance right now, who hasn't really been under fire yet. So we'll have to wait and see. All right. And then the Seattle Seahawks, look, they're done. I mean, they got Drew Lock and Geno Smith at quarterback right now. I don't think I need to see anything else. I mean, that's it. DK Metcalf took the money. I get it, but he's not going to like his time there because they are in a rebuild, and this might be Pete Carroll's last season, whether he's retiring or he's going to be forced out. He had a great run, one of the few college coaches that can come into the NFL and win, him and Jimmy Johnson, Barry Switzer, guys like that. Arguably, Barry Switzer had a good situation, but, I mean, he still won nonetheless. But the Seahawks are done. I think they're going to play hard, but they just don't have enough, man. They have no identity. You have no quarterback. That the Legion of Boom has long been gone, right? Offensive line is still in shambles. And really you're just in a rebuild mode. So I'm not going to spend too much time on the NFC West because I feel like this division is pretty much self-explanatory. All right. So we got Rams, Cardinals, Niners, and Seahawks. All right, moving along. We got the NFC North. Now, a lot of people might disagree with me on this one. They might. And so what? Listen, I'm hearing a lot of, Vikings are the team. Look, I don't trust Kirk Cousins. Okay, Dalvin Cook's probably going to get hurt at some point. Thielen's going to be hurt at some point. I like their defense, but Green Bay has Aaron Rodgers. And I get it. Ryan, they don't have a number 1 wide receiver. I get it. I totally understand that. But they still got a running game. They can run the ball. Okay, with Aaron Jones and Dylan back there, they can run the football. The defense is going to be pretty solid still, right? And they have Aaron Rodgers, the back-to-back MVP. Now, will they make one? Are they going to be in contention for the Super Bowl? I don't know. Maybe not. We'll see. But they can win this division. This division is a mess. Okay. So all you Vikings fans, you're like, oh no, skull. No, I'm sorry. I don't trust. Really, Kirk Cousins over Aaron Rodgers? Come on, man. You're smoking. You're smoking if you think that this team is going to be better than the Green Bay Packers. And I get it. The wide receiver thing is a big problem. How many wins do you give for this division? Honestly, I think the Packers can still win. I mean, I don't know each team's schedule, but I feel like Green Bay can win 10 games because Aaron Rodgers is worth that many games. Now, the Vikings are talented. Don't get me wrong. They are talented. And I can see the Vikings winning between 9 and 10. Right. Like I said, I don't know their schedule. The Lions I got finishing third. They're gonna win. They won 3 games last year. The Lions play hard. And I will say this. I just watched the recent episode of Hard Knocks. Dan Campbell was a joke to me when I first saw him introduced as, but he may not be a great NFL head coach, but I think that he's a good coach. He may not be suited to be the guy, but if he was like my position coach or like an assistant coach, he's a motivator. And a lot of things that he was saying, I believe in some of those common core principles that he instilled when I watched the Hard Knocks episode for the Detroit Lions. So I'm not as down on him as I was before. I thought he was a clown, but now getting to see them a little bit more, and I didn't realize who he had on his coaching staff. I didn't know he had guys like Aaron Glenn and Deuce Staley, and he had veteran guys. So will they win more than 3 games? I think they will. I think they'll win up about 4 to 5 games this year. I just don't think they're talented enough, but I do see them winning 4. Now, the Bears, they'll probably win 1-2 games. They suck. The Bears suck, man. And I feel, I really feel bad for Justin Fields because this is going to be the book that's going to be written on him. He's going to be a bust. That's what people are going to say. But if you really think about the situation he went into, man, he goes into an organization with a coach and Matt Nagy, who was basically, he was going to be fired. And then the GM too. They go into this offseason. He has no offensive talent. Allen Robinson leaves, right? Now you're relying on, Mooney, who's a nice receiver, but come on, he's not a number 1 guy yet. Then you go out and get some other guys who God knows who, right? And then you go and trade for N'Keal Harry. Like, who in the hell does that? Right? N'Keal Harry ain't done nothing in the NFL. So, the offensive line still is a shambles. And then poor Justin Fields, he's just there, man. Like, and I feel bad for him because, what? I think the story will say, oh, just another Ohio State quarterback that just didn't make the cut. And I think this time it won't be fair because he wasn't given an opportunity to be surrounded by really great talent. And it's obvious, man. He can't do it by himself, man. There's not a lot of quarterbacks that can say they've done it by themselves. Aaron Rodgers is probably one of the only guys, and maybe Patrick Mahomes, and we're going to see what happens with him, right? But the Bears have no talent on that team. Who is their best player on the Chicago Bears right now? Like, literally, Khalil Mack's gone. Akeem Hicks is gone. Who are we going to be? I can honestly say I am not excited about tuning in on any Chicago Bears game. I mean, really. So, this team is probably going to win 2 games, if that. 2-3 max, if that. And again, I don't know their schedule, but just based off what I've seen and their talent, they don't have enough, man. They don't have enough. So I got them finishing dead last in the NFC North, and I got the Packers at number 1. I really feel like the Vikings are getting a lot of love, but at the end of the day, you forgot who's the quarterback there, and it's Kirk Cousins. And not to say that Kirk Cousins is a total bum. He's good, but I'm not going to put him over Aaron Rodgers. No way. Never. Even if Aaron Rodgers came down with COVID and monkeypox, I would never put Kirk Cousins over Aaron Rodgers, ever. And I get it. The receiving core, they don't got it. I understand that. But they still run the ball, and they still play good defense. And you got to go to Green Bay in the winter, in the fall. It's going to be cold. Okay? You mean to tell me that the Packers can't split with the Vikings? The Packers should probably beat the Lions twice, and they will definitely beat the Bears twice. Okay, so let's just say that's 5 wins already off the bat. Off the bat. And I haven't looked at the rest of their schedule, but that's 5 wins right there. So you mean to tell me they can't win 5 other games? Come on. Come on. You don't know football. You don't know football. So, but a lot of experts have the Vikings at number 1. I don't. And it's not to say I don't like the Vikings. I just don't. I don't think they're ready. They're not ready for that yet. They're not ready for that moment yet. So we'll have to wait and see. All right, moving on. NFC South. This one is another one that people probably will disagree with me, but I got the Saints. I got the Saints being number 1 in this division, man. You got new head coach, right? Jameis Winston will be better. They've added some talent to the wide receiving core. Mike Thomas is back. They add Chris Olave, the receiver from Ohio State. It's going to give them some punch. Alvin Kamara is still there. This defense is top rated. This is a top rated defense. Okay, and they've shown that they can push the Buccaneers. If any team has given Tom Brady and the Buccaneers some trouble, it's been the Saints. It ain't been a cakewalk. Now, Tom Brady's missing some guys. Gronk is going to be out. Now, Tom is missing some time due to some personal reasons, so I'm not sure how that's going to affect him, but especially for a guy like him who's in the lab. He's a lab rat. So we're going to see how that works out for him. But the Buccaneers are still a good team, don't get me wrong. But, they're a year older. They got a new head coach, so we'll see how that works out. The Falcons are another surprise team that I do like. I like Marcus. I like the fit for Marcus Mariota. We'll see how the receiving core with Drake London and Kyler Pitts, how that works out. Sorry. And we'll see how that works out. But, moving forward, the Falcons are going to be, they have a new head coach too. They're going to be playing hard. Our second-year coach, excuse me. They're going to play hard. They were in a lot of games last year. They just blew them. So I think they're going to play hard. And then Carolina, to me, they're probably about a 3-4 win team. They're going to have a quarterback carousel, and it's just not going to work out. And that's what I have them at. So NFC South: Saints, Bucks, Falcons, and Panthers. And finally, NFC East, and a lot of my friends are going to be like, what? Yeah. I got the Eagles number 1. I'll be honest with you. I got them number 1. I think they're going to be a well-coached team. They've added some pieces. They got better. The Cowboys did not get better in the offseason. That's a fact. Okay. Eagles added, some good guys to the draft. They went ahead and got A.J. Brown. They're going to be better coached, right? Better coached than I think the Cowboys. I watched the Cowboys preseason game last night. 17 penalties were over 125 yards. That's ridiculous, man. Preseason. That's ridiculous. And that's going to be a common thread moving forward. And then the left tackle that they drafted from Tulsa, Tyler Smith, had like 3-4 penalties, holding, which we knew that was going to happen because that's what he was known for in college. So not sure how that's going to work out. You didn't improve the wide receiver room, right? You traded away Amari Cooper. We didn't get anything for him. It's one thing if Michael Gallup was healthy, I can say, all right, I'm not as concerned. I didn't see anything from the young wide receivers yet. And again, Cooper Rush was throwing to them, and he sucks. Okay, but the wide receiver room, dude, if CeeDee Lamb goes down, God forbid, dude, we're screwed because Michael Gallup is not slated to return until after week 8 because he's on the PUP list. If CeeDee goes down right now, who are we throwing the ball to? Jalen Tolbert is not ready yet. Noah Brown been in the team for a while. We have a lot of unproven guys. And if you don't understand that, and you're a Cowboys fan, and you're just a fanboy, because we don't have enough depth there. We just don't, and we need that. Dak Prescott, love him to death, but he's not that kind of quarterback. He's not an Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers can come to Dallas and probably be successful like that because he's that dude. But we'll see. Maybe Dak is taking the preparations to be that guy, but he's going into the 7th season. He hasn't shown that yet. I don't think he's ever going to be that guy. He needs help. Now, we'll see how Zeke performs. We got Tony Pollard. But again, that offensive line is looking shaky. It's looking very shaky. Tyron Smith, love him to death. He's a Hall of Famer, but he won't play a full season. He's going to be hurt. And Tyler Smith, the guy we drafted first overall, 24th pick, if he continues to hold like that, man, we're going to just be right up there with penalties again. He's going to fit right in. Right? He ain't going to be no better than, what's the guy? David, I forgot the guy's name. He's in Miami now. McGovern, I think. I forgot. But, I mean, holding, penalties. This is an undisciplined team. Time and time again, we shot ourselves in the foot. And watching that preseason game last night, again, it just shows me the fact that Mike McCarthy is not the guy there. But we'll never get it right. And I can literally talk about the Cowboys the rest of this show, but I'm not. So I'm going to keep it moving. All right. Washington Commanders. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Carson Wentz, the quarterback, they'll be better improved. Defensively, they're good. Offensively, I just don't know where they're going to get it from. You know, and I like Terry McLaurin, whatever you want to call him, but Carson Wentz is not that guy. He isn't. And if anybody wants to sit here and tell me that Carson Wentz is better than Dak Prescott, you need to get your head checked because you're smoking. All right, so I'll leave it at that. And the Giants, they're going to be the worst team in that division. I just don't see it. Saquon Barkley's going to get hurt again. He's another guy. Talented as hell, but just can't stay on the field. He's going to get hurt. And Daniel Jones, he's going to prove it here. He's going to fold. He can't make the throws. They have a new rookie head coach in Brian Daboll. We'll see how he's able to handle all that. Maybe in the next couple of years they can turn things around there, but I just don't see it. So those are my predictions. I know I'm a Cowboys fan, but I'm going to be real. I'm going to be objective here. And I like the Eagles are probably going to win this division. No one has went back-to-back in this division in quite some time. So it's going to be a flop. Somebody's going to flip-flop. And I feel like the Eagles are more in position. Now, I don't like I like Dak Prescott over Jalen Hurts as far as quarterbacks, but overall, the talent on the roster, the Eagles are a lot deeper. They can afford to have an injury here or there. The Cowboys cannot afford to have any injuries, period, especially in the wide receiver area, period. All right, so, and our O-line sucks. They suck right now. So, and they did not address that. So, and that's partly Jerry Jones. And I think they have like $22 million in cap. $22 million in cap, and they did not go out and spend a dime on anybody. So, and I get it. You don't want to go out and just get all the free agents and yada, yada, yada. But come on, man. Like, you don't replace Lyle Collins. You don't try to go out and get another veteran wide receiver because you feel good with the guys you have. Jerry Jones, honestly, man, I've come to this conclusion every year now. I've kind of scaled back on my fandom for the Dallas Cowboys. I still love them. That's my team. But I just realized that they are not going to go anywhere because Jerry Jones is in charge of the football operations. He just doesn't have it. And honestly, if we Will McClay is the guy that really is responsible for all those draft picks. For those who don't know, Will McClay is I believe in charge of player development or player personnel, something like that, right? Of that role. He's been attributed to drafting all these guys that we do have. If it wasn't for him, the Cowboys would be just as bad as the Jacksonville Jaguars because Jerry Jones and his son, they don't know what the hell they're doing. You know, we couldn't go out and get Von Miller, a couple $1 million here. When you're already over $20 million you have in cap space, you can't go sign a guy like that. So you go get Dante Fowler. Come on, man. That don't even make any sense. So, but that's where the Cowboys are at. That's where they're at. So pay the wrong dude sometimes. And sometimes you got to go out. You got to take a page out of the Rams textbook and say, look, we're going to go get some guys. We got some guys, but we're going to go get some other guys to complement with our guys. And that's why you win a Super Bowl. Or that's why you're in contention to win a Super Bowl. And the Dallas Cowboys are just not there. So overall, those are my picks for the division. So I hope you guys liked it, love it. If you disagree, let me know in the comment section below. If not, later on, man, hit me up on TikTok or Instagram. Let me know what you guys think of the show. Again, that's it. I've been on here over an hour. I'm ready. I'm done, man. I'm about to go watch some Premier League soccer. Go Chelsea. Playing Tottenham tonight or this morning. So, love soccer. But anyway, that's the show, man. Hey, make sure if you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'll be back next week, Sunday. Same time, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube and Facebook. Make sure you guys watch and enjoy the show. Again, like and subscribe and share. I appreciate that. So, until next time, this is Clutch Sports Talk. NFL Sunday morning with me, Ryan Flowers. Never settle till the work is done. Man, let's go.